Hey everybody, welcome to the RR Live Wellness Unfiltered podcast. My name is Robert Reams, the host and the producer of the show, and as always, I'm here to inform and inspire you, to educate you, and to motivate you so that you can take this information, put it to work in your lives, share it with your loved ones and your families. I've come a long way to have this opportunity to sit in front of you today. Let's go. Hey everybody, welcome to the RR Live Wellness Unfiltered podcast. My name is Robert Reams, the host and the producer of the show. And as always, I'm here to inform and inspire you, to educate and to motivate everybody that's listening in today. And you can take this information home, share it with your loved ones and your families. Now today, I got to tell you, I say this a lot, but this is a special day. I feel like I've almost come full circle with this show today. And you're going to find out why in a second. I've got today on my show, Westside Junior High, Elkhart Blue Blazer, Ball State Cardinal, NFL legend, and I think the biggest thing of all is an all-star, epic, amazing dad. My man, my friend, Shafer Suggs is in the house. Welcome, Shafer.
Thank you.
All right.
Great to see you.
You too.
Been a while.
Yes, it has. Yes, it has. Well, it's been a while up until this past couple of days, and we've had a couple of really great conversations. And again, I really appreciate you coming on because it is kind of a full circle moment. There's a lot of people still in Elkhart that are, I got family, I got friends, and I grew up there, went to Ball State, and so much of my heart is still there. So this is kind of a full circle moment for me, and a lot of folks from Elkhart and Ball State are going to be listening to us. So thanks again. How are you?
I'm blessed. I'm doing well.
Good.
Today is my daughter's 29th birthday.
Yes.
So 29 years ago, I was blessed with one of the most beautiful human beings in the world.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's really kind of neat because this is her first birthday with her daughter, my granddaughter, Sky, Susan.
Right.
And I spoke to her this morning. I told her about the show. She said, well, make sure you put it on social media because, like I mentioned, her and I had our own podcast show together for about 3 years.
Right.
She's really excited to hear about it.
Well, listen, the episode that you sent me was really great, man. I mean, that's some great information that you guys put out there, and the dynamic and the synergy, obviously, that you guys have. It really came off, and it was really great, and I recommend people tune into that. So man, I got so much I want to cover with you, Shafer. First off, I think probably just to establish the connection, my intro here, Westside Junior High, Elkhart, Indiana. Back then we called it junior high. Now they call it middle school. You were in the class with my older brother, John.
Right.
And that's probably a big part of this connection. And, you then went to Elkhart High School at the time. And at that time, Elkhart High School was one high school. By the time I got there, it had split into two high schools. So, and then you went to Ball State, and I went to Ball State too. And you were a big star at Ball State. But it all really started back at Westside Junior High. So, man, all the things that you've done in your life so far, including making it to the NFL and everything that you're doing today, which I'm definitely going to talk about. And, being such an epic father. When you were back at Westside Junior High, did you ever imagine any of this was going to happen?
Well, I aspired to be an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
The seasons changed. Whenever the season changed, it represented a different sport for me.
Right.
And, I went to Lincoln Elementary School, but going to Westside.
Yep.
It was boy, so you're looking at the early 60s, sports was heaven in Elkhart.
It was everything.
I dreamed about playing for the Elkhart Blue Blazers.
Mm-hmm.
I dream about playing for the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, there you go. And
the Notre Dame Irish, but
the Fighting Irish, 30 minutes up the road there.
Right,
well, that's the thing. I think that because people who tuned into my show, they know, all the opportunities that I've had and everything that I get to do. A big part of it really started with sports. And you guys, you and a lot of the other Blue Blazers, including my brother and some of the guys that were ahead of you, because, look, Elkhart was kind of a perennial state championship at that one point between like 68 and 72. You guys were my idols. You were my all-stars. I mean, I looked up to you guys. I was making the connection. I thought about this years ago. I'm really connected. I got connected to the Baltimore Colts when I was a little kid. And I now know the reason why, because, we always watch the NFL games. But Baltimore Colts, who then obviously became the Indianapolis Colts, and of course I'm going to be connected to that, but their uniforms were just like your guys, if you remember that. Do you remember that? I mean,
I do.
The Baltimore Colts jersey and the colors were exactly like the Elkhart Blue Blazers. And so at that time, I mean, that was everything to me. I looked up to you guys, and now sitting with you here today is pretty amazing. Take us through then. You went to Elkhart. You were obviously a two-sport star there, all-state. You were recruited by some really great schools. You chose Ball State, and we had a conversation about that the other day. What was behind that choice? Because, when I asked you that question before, I'm like, well, God, Shafer's probably recruited by everybody. But there's a little story behind that. Why did you choose Ball State?
Well, the opportunity to play two sports, So, growing up, from West Side, I played football, I played basketball, I ran track.
Yeah.
Elkhart, I played football, I played basketball, I ran track, I played baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up in Elkhart, you played sports. When the season changed, you played that sport.
That's right.
And I aspired to be an athlete.
Yeah.
I would say my junior year, let me back up. So, a couple of setbacks in junior high school.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't share this with you, but in ninth grade, I had a career-ending, sustained a really bad knee injury that I ended up in a wheelchair.
Really?
And back in those days, it was against Concord. We were playing Northside Junior High School, and I turned to go up for a layup, and I felt my knee pad slide down my leg, and I realized it wasn't my knee pad; it was my kneecap.
Wow.
And that's the last thing I remember. In the hospital, in a cast for 3 or 4 months, and I remember, my love for sports seemed to be over. It was really hard, but I also remember Keith Doherty.
I remember that name.
Was basketball coach.
Yeah.
Brought a basketball with 3 or 4 of the other players and visited me and inspired me. And I remember that like it was yesterday because I dreamed about being a Blazer. But it was a setback. It was a real setback. And then the following year, I rehabbed my knee, got a chance to go out for the football team. I was probably about 5'2", 5'4", about 100 pounds dripping wet. I was the fastest player. I was the fastest kid, but coming off that knee surgery, I wasn't the fastest anymore.
Right.
And I went out for the football team, and I remember quitting the football team.
Wow.
And I walked home, and because everybody was bigger than me. I mean, I hadn't matured really yet.
Yeah.
This will lead to why I chose Ball State, because I was a late bloomer.
Right.
I was a great athlete in elementary school, but by middle school, everybody kind of matured. Yeah. The voices had changed. My voice hadn't changed yet. But I went out for the football team, and then I rehabbed it, went out in my sophomore year. And at that time, as you well know, Elkhart had the sophomore division. All the sophomores went to the sophomore division.
Yes.
We had the senior division.
Right.
My mom decided that she was going to walk me back to practice. I can't, the words that she used was very inspiring, but she basically said, you're not going to quit. You're not going to quit.
God bless her.
Whatever you do in life, you don't quit. And I went back and I played. I didn't play that much, but it was really challenging. Well, I got to a point where I was able to go out for the sophomore basketball team.
Yeah.
Went out for the basketball team. I made the basketball team, got in the game, stole the ball, and I broke the other leg. So
Holy crap.
back-to-back games, my last game of my ninth grade year, my first grade of my sophomore year, I break both knees. I had another knee surgery. And I can tell you, man, it seemed really at that time because life was it was hard because my identity was so attached to sports.
Yeah.
It was my sports, and it seemed to be over. And I just kept fighting. I remember in the basement with my dad, he would fill these cement Folgers cans up with cement, and he used them to because you had a cast on for 2 or 3 months. Your leg, the atrophy sets in.
Oh yeah. You got to build it back up. Yeah.
But I was able to get that knee to a point where it was bending, and by my junior year, I was able to at least go out for the football team. And my coach, Keith Doherty, was my driver's ed coach at that time.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Teacher.
Yeah.
And he said, I know you had a tough time, but I really want you to go out for the football team. And I went out for the football team, and I was a quarterback at that time. And at that time, he had 4 quarterbacks. He was only going to carry 3. And he said, we're going to switch you to defensive back, and if that doesn't work out, I'm going to cut you from the team.
Wow.
And if you
nobody would know this, man.
if you get a chance, when he inducted me into the Indiana Football Hall of Fame, he was my presenter. He shares this story. He said, thank God for him, he didn't cut me. But
That's cool.
I ended up playing defensive back. He switched me to defensive back, and long story short, I got a scholarship to go to Ball State. So because I was such a late bloomer,
right?
I didn't get a lot of looks. I mean, at Wisconsin, I had Ball State, Purdue, yeah. Indiana said, well, we already have another guy playing football and basketball because I wanted to play both sports.
Yes.
And at that time, we were doing it, but not very many guys did it. So I had Quinn Buckley down there.
Yeah.
And so I ended up going to Ball State, which obviously, as I shared with you, was a great move for me because that year was the first year the freshmen were able to play varsity sports.
Yes.
The movie with the plane crash, We Are Marshall.
We Are Marshall. Love it. That's one of my go-tos.
Because of that plane crash, he lobbied to let freshmen play.
Wow.
And in 76, my freshman year, 72, 73, my freshman year at Ball State, freshmen were able to play varsity sports. And I actually played freshman football, started on the football team, went out for the basketball team, and started on the basketball team.
Wow.
And that obviously was the best move. You shared with me, I went to another school with this NIL thing, you being the athlete that you were, which you had transferred. And the reality is I was able to play 2 sports. I got a lot of national attention.
And that's what you wanted.
And as a result of that, I got on the radar really, really quick. And by my sophomore, junior year, I had scouts coming to watch me play.
Wow.
Fortunately, I got drafted in the second round, the 33rd pick in the 1976 draft.
That's incredible. I think a great takeaway here is not only this is a great story that I don't think a lot of people knew. I had no idea. And the other thing is, I can kind of relate to that because there are a lot of late bloomers. It's like, you get these, now I'll use the current IU team as an example. You got a lot of dudes on there that there are no 5-star recruits on that team.
Right.
I think there are 5 4-star recruits. There's a handful of 3s, and there's a whole bunch of guys that just didn't get looked at all.
Right.
And here they come, and they get the national championship. I think that these 5-star recruits sometimes, there's a lot of attention and a lot of smoke blown up where, and it kind of like sometimes can make them lose their edge. Whereas somebody like you was obviously immensely talented, but it hadn't quite developed yet. It came out in the right timing that you were able to blossom when you needed to. But if they would have evaluated you as a sophomore in high school, you wouldn't have been where you are today. But you made some really great. Yeah, you made some really great decisions. And so parents and any athletes out there, male and female athletes and parents of athletes, you know, look, we all come along through a different timeline. And so you keep going with what you're doing out there, because eventually you will peak, and whatever that peak is going to be for you, that's where it's going to be. So you stay with it. So thank you for sharing that, Shafer. And you know, again, fast forward, you already mentioned amazing career at Ball State. You're drafted 33rd overall in the NFL draft, 1976. The New York Jets picked you, and you went on to have a great NFL career. I mean, as you got into the NFL, did you think about how that time period of your adversity inspired or motivated you? Did that come up for you, or did you just go, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be, this is the level I'm at, and I'm grateful, and this is where God wants me? How did you navigate that in your head? Because I talk a lot about body image, self-image, self-esteem, and our inner voices. How did you navigate getting drafted that high? Because that's an amazing thing, man.
All of the above. You know, I have a program called Inner Winner.
Yes,
Find the
we'll talk about
winner
that.
from within, right?
Yes.
I share with you some of the challenges growing up.
Yep.
My duality of my life.
Yes.
Share with that.
Yep.
And sports was my haven, my escape. So I was focused. I was dialed in.
Yeah.
I was dialed in. And there was nothing, they say, if you want it bad enough, you have to have that want to. I was dialed in.
Yeah.
There was nothing that was going to stop me. Once I got to Ball State and I realized that I was going to get drafted, I realized that, wow, I had arrived. And I can tell you, I look back on my life, and it could have been so many different things that happened, that I witnessed, that I experienced, that it could have took me a different direction.
Yes.
Took completely different direction. And I was very fortunate to keep moving forward. I had really good inspiration from my high school coach, Tom Kurth. My mom, Shafer Suggs, was amazing. There were people that I aspired to be like. You know, people don't know that my biological dad was Rich Barnes, and I aspired to be like him. But at that time, I didn't know he was my dad. I didn't know, but it was, like I said, the parallels between us growing up. I mean, we're in Northside Jail in two different pictures, staying in the same spot. I aspired to be like him. But it was like the silent noise that no one ever talked about, right?
Yeah.
No one ever talked about, which is it could be a different program. It's part of my book. It's called The Silent Noise.
Yes.
There were people in my life that inspired me. And I don't know if I shared this with you, but right before I got drafted, he was there. My mom called him up. He was there. He was at the All-Star games.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, he's here. I mean, this guy that I aspire to be like, that, you know, everybody talks about, here we are in the same room. He's giving me tips,
right?
You know how to cover, how to stay in your back pedal. And I didn't realize it, but my mom had put a call to him, said, Shafer's getting drafted. Can you show up? And it was really interesting because it was my mom, my dad, and Rich, right? So part of that story was very, very difficult because growing up, it was very challenging because my father knew. And so there were some really challenging moments there because, as a kid, when you hear things, that silent noise, you kind of shove it deep down inside.
Yes.
So my escape was sports.
Yes.
You talk about what that drive was. It was my escape to sports. So a lot of the stuff I just shoved so deep down inside, Robert, that it came out later, right? It came out later when I had to had to pivot. I had to go through my recovery. Early in my recovery, I had to go back to that time. But that was an inspiration. So, my point is, we're all gonna witness some type of trauma in our life. How do we come back? We don't allow trauma. Some people treat trauma as if it happened yesterday. And with the grace of God, I found recovery 38 years ago, and it's kind of navigated my life and it allowed me to be the man, the father, the son, the husband that I am right today.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
That's
but
that
yeah,
that's amazing, man. And because I want to pivot to that here, but I want to just cover a couple of things for everybody listening here. Gentleman, he's talking about E. Rich Barnes, and this is so incredible. I about freaking had to pull over. In fact, I think I did when you told me that on the phone, because one of the things that I was going to bring out today that basically, I mean, our coveted city, Elkhart, Indiana, you and E. Rich Barnes and you are arguably the two most decorated athletes to come out of our hometown. And for people that don't know E. Rich Barnes had how many years in the NFL? 10 years? Cleveland
oh no,
Browns?
he played 13 years. He should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, he played
13 years
13 years. Yeah, 13
with the,
years
with
for a
the
couple of.
Bears, with the Cleveland, with the Bears, with the New York Giants, and also with the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, he was, I mean, you talk about athlete, you know, an Elkhart high school athlete. I mean, he kind of defined that. He was the first original star and still, like I said, one of the most decorated to ever come out of town. And obviously you did well in the big show, as you did. And I was going to compare you guys. I was going to be like, God, you and E. Rich Barnes are kind of the most decorated athletes coming out of Elkhart. And then you went on to share this whole thing with me. And I mean, first of all, I was like, I was blown away. And second of all, I was like, man, Shafer Suggs is sharing this with me. And it just was like, man, that's pretty cool, because, I mean, people are going to be like, I don't think a lot of people don't know that, right, Shafer?
Yes, a lot of
Yes and
people
no.
do know that.
Yeah.
It was like, so it was interesting. If you look at that state championship team that he was on, 4 of those teammates were my coaches.
Yeah. 2 of them were mine.
And they obviously knew. So in retrospect, I remember having a long conversation with Tom Kurth,
Mm-hmm.
and he knew. And he said, so badly he wanted to say something to me,
Mm-hmm.
especially when I was going through my struggle, but he never did. So we
Yeah.
became very, very close. And so, yeah, a lot of people did know, but it was like, he had to keep it quiet or he would have lost his scholarship. He would have
Yeah.
lost his scholarship. My mom was only 15 years old.
And
Okay.
he had a scholarship full go to
He had a
Purdue. And
scholarship.
obviously that was a
At
big,
that time, you impregnate a woman, you don't go. And it was kept quiet, it stayed quiet, and it became, the silent noise.
yeah.
And, I had to unfold all that, but, if you look at athletes, I talk about the duality of life. You look at athletes that we go through, people realize that we are, you see us on the field, you see how hard we work, we get these big contracts, but we all go through stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We all go through stuff.
You're
We all
human,
go
man.
through
You're human.
stuff.
Yeah.
We're human.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
part of my narrative right now, and part of my goal and objective now is to kind of work through those transitions in life.
Mm-hmm.
Other players, whether they're in high school, whether they're as a young Shafer Suggs going through what I went through
Yeah.
in high school.
Well, and dude, you got a lot to share with these people, because, man, have you been through it and been on the other side? And I bring this up again because I talk about body image, self-esteem, and I talk about how that undercurrent, our inner voice, similar to the title of your book, that inner dialogue kind of runs our show, whether we know it or not, subconsciously, consciously, in a negative, positive light. We make that call every day. And I talk about people in terms of self-image to lead with their gifts, because some of us just aren't as physically gifted as others. And leading with your gift was sports. And everybody saw that gift, and you were able to share that gift with everybody. And then you're drafted. You have this great career. You're on the NFL field with some NFL legends. I mean, you probably played against you probably intercepted Terry Bradshaw, for God's sake. You did. Oh, come on, man. Now, okay. I got to take a break. I got to take a breath here. But this is the kind of level that Shafer was at, everybody. And so you think, just like you said, wow, these guys got everything. They're gods. I mean, you're treated like gods in many ways. But you said something to me on the phone. You said when the football was done, The pro career was done. You said something to the tune, and I'm not going to quote you, but it was something to the tune of, man, the lights don't just dim, they disappear.
They shut off immediately.
Yeah, they shut off
There's
immediately.
no
I knew it was
dimming effect.
something like that. And if you could, because I think this is probably what just takes your incredible story and your inspiration and the work that you do now over the top. Share that, a little of that, if you could. What was that for you? Your NFL career is done. Then what happened?
Well, it's dark.
Yeah.
It's dark. It's dark.
Yeah.
You know, again, think about my history.
Yeah.
Think about my journey to getting there. Think about what I was escaping to.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
escaping from.
Yes.
Okay? So when the lights went off, guess what else was in that darkness? My past.
Yes.
Right? My past.
Yeah.
And it was very hard. You know, the man that you see on camera right now, there was a point in time in my life I didn't want to live. And with the grace of God, I was able to find recovery in 1986. You know, I started out with the Percodons for pain. I got hurt. Drinking socially. Got back in those days. It was Studio 54 days, we're hanging out. But the reality is it became what I needed to medicate.
Yeah.
It socially began to medicate.
Yeah.
And then addiction. And I finally got to a point where I had to decide whether or not I want to live or die. And I remember calling my mom. I don't know if earlier in our show, I said, my mom, I was going to quit the football team. And she said the same thing she said then. Shafer, don't quit. Whatever you do in life, don't quit. And I found myself in recovery. I found myself in treatment. And I never looked back. I allow God to be the most important part of my life. I came to believe that a power greater than myself can restore me to sanity. I lean into recovery, and I never looked back.
Wow.
And I redefined myself. Right?
Yeah.
I had to go. Listen, I had to go back to training camp of life.
Wow.
I had to put my cleats on and shine my shoes. I put a suit on.
Yeah.
The same tenacity, the same will, the same want, the same work ethics that I displayed on the track, on the football field. I applied them to the next aspect of my life. And
God bless you, man.
it was I was blessed because a lot of us don't make it. Fortunately, I didn't have the other things that a lot of players that go through that have, and that's the concussions, the CTE.
Yes.
And because we go through that stuff. The physical, people think that, once the lights go off, the pain's still there.
Yeah. In fact, lights goes off, the pain gets probably multiplied, 100,000 times.
Right. And what resonates with what you do, self-care is the reason that I feel the way I feel at 72.
Yeah.
Because I have younger kids, so I want to be around for them. My granddaughter is 3 months.
Sure.
I begin to start taking care of myself. This whole inner wellness is so important to me right now.
Yeah.
And maybe the third or fourth chapter of my book is, I got married and had a family and I have kids. The whole other chapter there. And there's a chapter after that, right? So there's 12 chapters to my life, and I'm sure there's not enough time to talk about that aspect of it, but having and being a father.
Yeah.
Fatherhood is the greatest gift in the world.
100%.
You really think about it. I really didn't have that father figure. I didn't have that person that can just there on a daily basis giving me that direction, right?
It was kind of in the periphery of your mind,
yes,
maybe?
Yes.
Yeah.
My father was my father, but, he was abusive.
Yeah.
He was abusive because there was that deep, dark secret. And
Yeah.
it had to be tough for him.
Sure.
Knowing that I wasn't his biological son. And we made peace with that. I said, Dad, it had to be really tough to know that I wasn't yours. but you still did things with me. You still coached me. You still threw the ball. You
Yeah.
did things that he didn't do. He
Yeah.
was never present,
Yeah.
and by the time he passed away, we were good. That's
Yeah.
my father, Max Suggs.
Wow.
So, you
Man,
know,
this is, yeah. There's so many lessons here, Shafer, for so many people. If you really think about, what we're talking about here, you mentioned self-care. I talk about this a lot. I talk about body, mind, spirit, who we really are, our inner truths. And some people never discover that inner truth. Man, you sure did. And look where it took you. I mean, you got one amazing life, dude. But you made that happen through
well,
faith and through the work that you did.
well, thank you. And what I will tell the audience, it is still evolving.
Yeah, we always are.
So
We never stop learning.
the lights are not going to get dim anymore. They'll go out,
No.
but when they go out, they'll check out. But it's still evolving because a part of that redefining my life is finding new purpose,
Yeah.
right? It's
Another
setting new
thing I
goals,
talk about. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And continue to find purpose. And when you find that, continue to move that needle. Continue to move it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to be that example to my son Devin and my daughter Faith.
Yeah.
They are two amazing kids. My dad, my daughter was 14 when Sue passed. My
Yeah.
son was 9,
Right. Right.
and it was, and we leaned into
Yeah.
sports. We leaned into our faith.
Yeah.
Faith ended up getting a scholarship at Duke,
Yeah.
and now she's an agent for the WNBA. And my son graduated from Yale. I would have
That's
never. You guys did something I could have never. I don't know if I could have got into those two schools, but
I mean, you take it back to Lincoln Elementary School. It's like
yeah,
you
right,
fast forward to that, like who knew that was all going to
right,
happen?
right. But to play and get at that level, I know Mom is smiling from above, but I take credit. But it was like they were the bookends that kept me standing most of
Yeah,
the time.
yeah. I was
You
going to
know,
say, I mean, you met your wife who passed away. Share that really quick. I mean, she passed away of cancer, correct?
yes, 6 months pregnant with our firstborn, we found out that she had cancer, and she had melanoma.
Okay.
We had surgery to remove that, and she went into contractions, and we almost lost both of them. And yeah, we overcame it,
Mhm.
and that's where and why we named that little girl Faith.
Yes. Yeah. Faith
And
Suggs. That's
we,
amazing.
with melanoma, you check it every year. You check it for 5 years.
Hmm.
We had Devin in 2001, and in 2011. Faith was being highly recruited. We were traveling a lot, and her back started bothering her. We couldn't figure out what it was. Long story short, she ended up going to get the CT scan, and we found out that she had a burst fracture in her T3 vertebrae. It was cancer. That was August. She passed away in October,
Wow.
2 months
Wow.
later.
Wow.
So it was devastating.
Yeah.
It was really difficult. And here I am. And she was, what, 15 years younger than me. I took out married someone younger to take care of me.
Wow.
Here I am now. I'm 59 years old, and I gotta take care of the hair. I gotta do all this stuff. But
Yeah.
again, it gets back to you don't give up. You
Yeah.
lean into your faith, and that's another chapter. Fatherhood.
You know.
You know,
Yeah.
dealing with the same. I have kids who are experiencing the same thing I was experiencing, going through
Yeah.
getting recruited. Of course, it's a
Sure.
whole different story being
Duke
recruited.
and Yale. I mean, you're talking big programs here.
Yeah, big programs, but actually, what I knew about coaching and what I knew about recruiting, although I went through it a whole 100 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
very,
Yeah.
very different.
In a
But
different day too,
different,
but
a different day,
yeah.
a different
But
day. Getting back to getting back on track. the reality is, you just don't give up. You got to
Yeah.
continue to find purpose in your life.
Yeah.
And my life is continuing to evolve. They say you don't keep it unless you give it back, right? You got to
Yeah.
continue to evolve. And that's why when you ask me to come on this show, it's an opportunity for us,
Yes.
team, brothers, to
Yes.
continue to evolve and give back.
Yeah.
And because, like I said, if there's just one person or two people that we can impact, that we can inspire, it's all worth it.
Yeah. And I talk about purpose on this show a lot too, Shaper,
Right.
and you nailed it, man. I mean, there's so much synergy here that God just brought us together here in the last 2 weeks. It's kind of blowing me away. It really is. I mean, just again from coming full circle from Elkhart, Indiana. But listen, everybody out there, your purpose is what wakes you up in the morning. That's what gets you going. And, sometimes people think, well, I'm really kind of insignificant. There is nobody that is insignificant. Your purpose, I don't care if it's quilting. I don't care if it's volunteering at the fire department. I don't care if it's coaching your kid's team it doesn't matter what it is. If your purpose helps all of us or helps a certain amount of people for the greater good, then you got to roll with that purpose.
Right.
And I've seen it in their eyes, of people that retire or people that, like you said, your NFL career ended. You had to pivot and go to another purpose at that point and find that purpose and find what woke you up in the morning and motivated you to come as far as you have and to go through all the rehab and everything and come out on this side. So my hat goes off to you, brother. And I think a lot of people out there will be inspired is not even the word. It's sort of like, this is the kind of stuff that takes people to the next level. And before we wrap, and we'll do this again, Shafer, I think we got a lot to talk about. I want you to talk about some of the things that you're doing right now, because I think you're vice president of an organization that helps NFL players kind of pivot out of the NFL, right? And I want you to share that, and I want you to share a little bit more about what you do with Inner Winner, because Inner Winner, again, that inner voice, I think that's something that a lot of this audience would really love to hear about.
Well, first, I'm the NFL Players Association is our union.
Yes.
And when you retire, you become a former NFL player. And every city has a chapter.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been on the executive board for the Chicago chapter for 30 years.
Okay.
We do humanitarian gives. We give out scholarships to one male, one female each year for the last 20 years.
Okay.
A $10,000 scholarship. We give out a youth grant to 3 different organizations for equipment that need it. The requirements are they have to have a cheerleading squad as well. So we want to capture everybody. And that's something we do. I'm also on the executive board for Kids Matter, which is out here in Naperville.
Okay.
And it's helping kids make healthy choices.
Nice.
This year,
synergy. Yeah.
This year we had a wonderful speaker at our gala. We've had Rudy. We had Rudy Rudiker. We've had Horace Grant. We've had Joe McMahon. But this year, we focused on mental health. Wow. And our speaker was Mario Hemingway. Wow. And she was phenomenal.
Wow.
I don't know if you know this, but her grandfather's Ernest Hemingway.
Yes. Yeah.
And she had 7 suicides in her family. And she did her and Alec Kraszewski, who is ABC, sit up in front of the audience and did a question and answer period, which is wonderful. But I've been on the board for Kids Matter for about 3 years. Mm-hmm. And I also started another program, Who Am I? Everything that I do is designed to give kids that toolbox that you need to overcome what we're going to experience.
Yeah.
And it's all of it. Drugs. We have the vaping now. We have mental health right now. We have peer pressure right now. We have bullying right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have toxic food now.
We have a lot more of this that they got to see every day. We have so many distractions. Mm-hmm. So, part of this leaning into where I can be. And as a result of that, I have been an ambassador for recovery for 38 years. And I decided to take my Inner Winner program and leverage into creating a peer support group of athletes. So we can go in and we can be that peer support for, and I'm not talking about football players, just basketball players. I'm talking about kids growing up with the pressures of sports,
Yeah.
starting early in life,
Yeah.
helping parents deal with identifying and
Yeah.
acknowledging the stigma
Mm-hmm.
behind things that we don't talk about. What I talked about today, we didn't talk about back then, right? That's
No.
why it was such a secret.
No. Yeah.
Kids are experiencing that type of stuff.
Right now.
They're not talking about it,
Yeah. Right now.
right?
Right now.
And it's playing out in the wrong ways, right?
Yes.
It's what comes first, the hen or the egg, right? Mental illness or substance use disorder. We don't know that, right?
Yeah.
So my Inner Winter program will cover and help support recovery, people that are going through that.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can get a group of guys with a show, I'm actually going to start my podcast show back, and it'll be called Inner Winter.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have people like yourself, people that are into wellness.
Yes.
I'll have people that are clinicians. I'll have experts, but I want people that have lived experiences.
Yeah.
People that know what it's like to be on the battlefield of life. People that know what it's like to get up and not give up.
Yeah.
People like who was facing death, who was deciding whether or not they're going to take their life or not, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
How many players have shot themselves in the head, have hung themselves? How many kids have hung themselves in the dorms?
Yeah.
Right.
And if they would have had a chance to speak to somebody like you could have changed that.
Somebody like me, or a group of somebody like me.
Yeah.
Create
the support.
Create that team. And that's the key. It's the stigma.
Yeah. Well, here's as you talk about this, I want to mention one more thing, because with the inner voice thing that we talk about, I acknowledge this a lot because I see this all the time with people. It's sort of like your inner voice that you think you have. When you're in situations like that and you're going through all this adversity and you're to the point where you get to what you're talking about right now, like just end it all. So many times, anything negative like that, that's not really your voice. That's something else that you adopted somewhere else from someone or something or some event, and you've adopted it and take it on as your own. And your physical being of what you're aware of at that point in your perspective thinks that that's your voice, and it overtakes everything. And I think that when I talk about finding inner voice and inner truth, an opportunity to work with somebody like you, or to, with the organizations that you have, to get with the right people can then get in and find their true inner voice, and they can move forward from that. Because I think so many people get in these tragic situations not because of who they are, but what they've adopted along the way that just overpowers them, and they don't get the help. Right. What do you think about that?
That is so true. That is so true. And I'm learning so much. So also getting a CRSS certification, Certified Recovery Support Services.
Okay.
Those are people that help people peer support to help people navigate their recovery. And that's giving me the tools. The mental illness piece of it was I didn't spend too much time on recovery on my mental illness. Mm-hmm. And the reality is I had it. Right?
Yeah.
I had it. I had depression, I had anxiety, I had it, right? So I'm learning. So with that being said, I am able to equip myself and continue to put more tools of knowledge into my toolbox.
Yeah.
So I'm able to identify and able to capture, and be able to identify and capture a way to provide hope for people. And
yeah, and hope is a big thing, Shafer. Yeah. That's a key word. That's another key word, hope. Hope. And look, when you start to self-discover whatever you want to do in life. Some of the work I've done that I've been blessed to do and that I still do. I've helped a lot of people. I've helped a lot of people that I will never know.
Yes.
But it's that process of self-discovery and again, working from the inside out, body, mind, and spirit, and finding that out and becoming, getting at one with that and at one with your faith, whatever that is. And when you have that all together as you, whoever you are, then you can move forward and accomplish anything that you want to do. And it might be weight loss, it might be recovery, it might be, whatever. But as I speak to the audience out there, is just kind of takeaways from what we're talking about today. As so many times I've mentioned here, find you and get down to what moves you, because we all come out, like I said, happy, vibrant, spirited, and then we get chipped at along the way. And life just starts chipping at you, even as a little kid. And you take this stuff in, but the minute you can turn that around and get back to who you are, then you can accomplish anything you want. Weight loss, ultimate health, mental health, physical health, anything you want to, career-wise, family. The world will be your oyster, but you got to do the work. You got to take the time and the effort to kind of circle back around and get down and dirty with what's going on and find that out. So, man, thank you for so much for coming on. I want to end this with one last question, Shafer. People out there, a lot of people out there with what's going on here with healthcare and some of the toxic air and the poison in our food and the things that are going on out there that are within people's control, but they need to be educated and guided in the right way. What is your message of hope and direction and clarity for listeners out there that are maybe just kind of a little lost right now and confused with everything that's going on? What's your advice?
Well, I think the one thing that I would share with people is, if you feel a certain way about something that's right, be an advocate for it.
Yeah.
Not only self-advocacy, but be an advocate. Don't be afraid to step up.
Yeah.
And stand up.
Yeah.
And that's what I would just say. I mean, it's the voices that we don't hear is what we do need to hear.
Right.
It's the voices that are quiet. You feel a certain way, you have to speak up.
Yeah.
You have to speak up.
Okay.
This is Black History Month. Dr. Martin Luther King. I'll tell you another story about Dr. Martin Luther King. I got a chance to see him at Stepping Center in Notre Dame.
Wow.
I thought I was going to see a Notre Dame game, but my mom wanted me just to get a lens on him.
Oh, wow.
Right? I got a chance to see him.
Wow.
But in his words, right?
Yeah. You got to see him speak. You got to hear and see him speak.
No, I got a chance to see him go from the car to the Stepping Center.
Oh my God! Well, that was probably enough just to
that was
see.
it. That was it.
He's a real person. I mean,
he actually is there. I got a lens on him, right?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
But just admire, his work and with what's going on with the climate of our world right now. We got to get back to his words, right?
Yes, absolutely. And another set of words too that. I mean, you've got this ingrained in your head and your being, but those words that your mother told you a couple key times in your life when she needed to tell you, man, those words too. Say them one more time, because
don't give up. Whatever you do in life, don't give up.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, listen, it's been great. I really appreciate you coming on, man.
And I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate our history. I appreciate the opportunity to come on, and I come back on anytime. So.
Appreciate it. And listen, you get your podcast going too. I'm there, and you just say the word and keep going with everything, Shafer. God bless you, and you got an amazing life. You look amazing. You're just an amazing guy. And I appreciate you coming on. And to everybody out there in Elkhart and Ball State and all over the country, man. We got to take a listen to this podcast. This is one of the most important ones I've done. So thank you for coming on, Shafer. Shafer Suggs, everybody.
Bless you.
Hey, everybody. Thanks again for tuning into the RR Live Wellness Unfiltered podcast. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the show. And don't forget the Revive and Sustain Wellness app. Go to www.reviveandsustain.com and download the app. 42 years of my experience at your fingertips. Till next time, everybody, in great health.